Hey y'all, I don't know if we've been out in this little segment of this old home place. I think I probably passed by it before, but I done dug up into the poison oak, and don't worry, I got my boots on. They got a split in them, but I ain't allergic, no way. I'd have been smooth eat up if I was. Way back. Look at that old Sweetgum bough. Isn't that something? Oh, good news. I finally got to the root cause of what was jacking my phone up, and had some help from another native Texan at this place that had worked for a phone company, tried to walk me through some updates that it didn't do, but that didn't fix it. My battery swole up like a billy goat. Old DW. Busted the screen last night. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, hopefully we got that fixed, so we might not shut down this evening. If we do, we do, right? Just is what it is. No, this old Sweetgum, thought about it last night, and I was twisting, y'all. That made me mad. Y'all ever get mad at yourself for getting upset about something silly? I'm talking about having a good talk with the man in the mirror. I did last night. I was like, self, you have lost your mind. But this is, those of a certain age might know what maybe that is. It used to stretch out yonder way toward the house. And my mom's hung many a piece of clothing on this old line. I remember her doing it. Remember Mamaw doing it for sure. But them old jeans, they get washed good. That washing machine wasn't hard to come by. Dryers were a little different. It didn't make no sense to spend all that money on electricity, I guess, to do it. But anyway, some of those folks that know what it feels like to put on a pair of air-dried jeans or underwear, or take that first dry off in the shower with a towel. Yeah, that's a whole different life right there. Good stuff, good memories. There used to be a couple of old plum trees over there, red plums they were. There's a story I told of me and my cousin cutting up a couple of years ago with those old plums. That was a mess. That's a story for another time. But last night about, I don't know, it was about dark. My old phone just said, I'm done. Thought it was a raindrop that got on it, but it wasn't that. And it really got me thinking. I was cut off. Wasn't able to talk to my wildflower like usual. And we had a bunch of grass here that my cousin and I, he was able to come across. It's pretty rare right now, this sod. And he had a load coming in. We had it on Facebook, so I was trying to monitor that for him. Just couldn't do nothing. Sitting there in a recliner just looking at the cat. And aggravated. I'm talking about aggravated. Then I got mad at myself, and I was aggravated at myself. So, wasn't nobody friendly in there. So, we called it and ordered some pizza and went to pick it up. And I was driving through town. It was probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Calling it a day. And there was a repair shop open. I swung in there and talked to the old boy. But along the way, I thought about how inconvenienced I was because I'd backed myself into a corner with technology. And that's my own fault. But it struck me. I couldn't even type it on my phone to remember it, so I pulled out an old notepad. Y'all remember those 3-ring binders? The little cardboard and the spirals? It'd get hung up, never work right when you towed it around school much. I don't even know if they carry those anymore. In your trapper keeper. But I pulled one out of the desk and found me a good old number 2 pencil and wrote a couple of thoughts down, but I didn't want to forget it. Used to be we was a quarter away from home. Before that it was a dime, my aunt reminded me. My old aunt reminded me. No, technology is a good thing, but it's a blessing and a curse, kind of like them chickens. It's not technology, but they get trapped. I've still got them sequestered. We got another shower today, 3/4 inch of rain this afternoon on the peas I planted. We didn't wash too bad. We're good. the ditches we cut are holding. But we still got another 4 or 5 days before they pop up out of the ground. And if I let them chickens out, well, they're going to find them little germinating pea seed, and they're going to eat every one of them. So they're on lockdown, but they won't out. And I think that's kind of where we're at. Looks good, smells good, but maybe it ain't the right path. If they'd have broke out when I opened the gate without a scoop full of feed, that I ate good all day. Worms, pea seeds, grass, bugs. There are bugs, y'all, in East Texas right now. Lots of bugs. Anyway, but no, I can open that coop up and every one of them come running out. All 60 or 70 of them. I mean, just in a mad rush. But the second I throw that scoop of feed in there, they go right back in the pen. I can shut the gate. They're fed and they're happy. But they walked up back into their own trap, just like I was last night. Couldn't get on Facebook, couldn't call nobody, couldn't text anybody. It was just jello on my screen. And it aggravated me to be displaced and upset as much as it did that phone. I used to say I hated cars because it separated us. I'm all about technology, I am. But my goodness. We lose it all tomorrow, how are we going to communicate? We backed ourselves into a corner, just like them old chickens, hadn't we? I guess so. Mama never let me leave the house as a teenager without at least a quarter in my pocket, too, if I was lucky, in case the first call didn't work. Can't do that no more. And that was in an era of technology and phones. Now, we text somebody and they don't respond for a day or so, we think they're dead, and we're calling the police. Back then, called somebody's phone number. Mine was, that's something, y'all ready for this? 409-291-1644. I don't know if I could tell you my wildflower's phone number. I know how to dial it. I'd probably figure it out, but it's funny how things stick in your head. I knew that was home. And if I got in a jam, flat tire, or ran out of gas or got into a situation, I could put a quarter in that old payphone at whatever convenience store I come across, walking or not. Mom and Daddy was coming. We was going to fix it. It's not that way anymore. Afraid we've lost that nuclear family. But we go on. Change is imminent, and we have to embrace it. Nature teaches us that that nuclear family is important. I think I finally turned the corner with old DW. He had me battle down right about here the other evening. But we've come to an understanding. I'll tell you, he's not necessarily mean, but when he gets rattled and he gets in a mood, it's going to be on. And we wrestled a little bit out here the other evening. The next morning, I went out to feed him. He jumped up on the side of the fence and just wanted me to scratch behind his ears, almost like apologizing. But I say we come to an understanding. He's got a halter on him. I don't like putting them old collars, even though they're breakaways. It just, the more they tug, the more they choke. And that's, if you're going to kill the goat, just kill it. If not, then let it live and live right. So got a little halter for him. And when he gets a little salty, got a half a cinder block that he can pull around all right, but he can't jump and get in and out of the rain or eat or whatever, but he don't like it. He thought he was going to be smart today, and he jumped over the back of the fence while we was loading grass. He wasn't bothering nobody. He'd come around to this side. Well, it was that time of the day to let the does out, so I let the does out of the back fence, and he's standing right here, y'all. Kid you not, free, not on his chain. He was just free roaming. Right here on the outside looking in, and the goats were on the outside of the fence. He couldn't stand it. So he started headbutting this old gate, trying to knock it down when the fool could have just walked around and been with his girls. Anyway, so we had to put him on his little cinder block for a little while to remind him, just like that old plum tree reminded me and Scott and most of my other cousins when we were getting out of line, and I'm thankful for that. And we had to pick our own switch. Whew! Don't pick a big one. Because if it's too big, you're going to have to go back out and endure all that again. Those little ones with just a couple of leaves on the end, I'm talking about little bitty. Whew. They will sting on the back of your legs. They sure will. But he was sure hollering. I've never heard him holler like that. He wasn't in pain. But his does weren't anywhere around. I don't know if he protects them. I'm sure he does. That's just what goats do. They follow him around. They didn't know what was going on. But he was stuck in the pen. Gate was open. But he couldn't go nowhere because he had a cinder block holding him back. Chains. Vices, I guess you could call it. I think the roles are important. That's unpopular this month, and I'm not going to get into it because old Martin Luther King said hate doesn't drive out hate, and it's not about that. Only love. Only love. I'm tolerant to a fault. Got friends of diverse backgrounds and colors and preferences and whatever, but I think a man ought to be free. He shouldn't discriminate in any circumstance based on color or even clothes you wear. I'm glad that's happening because I got busted rubber boots on, and I imagine people wouldn't like that. Sissy don't like flies, do you? I may not have to feed you as much, girl, much flies as you're eating. I think they're mosquitoes, actually. That's good. Ain't that something got a dog that even eats mosquitoes? That's not bad. I'm good with that. I read a story several years back. Was reminded of it today about some elephants out in South Africa. There's a new wildlife preserve, and they were going to populate it, and they did. The population was full of white rhinoceroses and giraffes, and all of a sudden, I think that was 1980, about 1993, they noticed that the white rhinos were getting killed in mass. The park rangers first suspected the poachers were in there after the tusks. But the tusks were still intact, and there was tusk marks on their backs. Big rhinos. It finally became famously known and widely reported as a group of juvenile delinquents, male elephants that had no role model. Because you see, when they moved all the elephants, the big bulls were a little bit too heavy to take into this new park, so they grabbed all the young ones, the females, the matriarchs, the males. But these were young males. There was a group of about 20, if I remember right. Had no male instruction, had nothing to rein them in. And they roved and they killed and they maimed the other animals in the park. There's a reason things are created the way they are. It's a balance, if you will. Mothers, just as important in my mind. May lose a few folks over this because I'm very, very tolerant. I am. If you take it differently than that, that's your problem. But there are certain things that I like broccoli. I don't talk about it all the time. It's mine. I don't care if you like broccoli or not. I do. That's my business. Shock to y'all, I don't sleep with any pants on. Imagine that. Won't be outside of the house. Won't be on a video without any pants. It's my business. And you should tolerate that. But let's keep it there. Don't make me wear a sticker that says I don't wear pants to bed. That don't even make any sense. Love, live and let live. There's severe problems in our world. Discrimination is one of them, and we should learn to not do that. But the good book says, take care of the widowed, the fatherless, and the stranger. That was his directive in that old book. The widow, she'll sit there, most of them, and she won't ask. Maybe we need to look around a little bit more. If the weeds are knee-high in their yard, she ain't going to ask you to mow it, but she sure would welcome you to do it, wouldn't she? Maybe that fatherless just needs a little bit of help and a role model to understand. Mothers are, boy, they're priceless. I read a story a while back of a situation in South Florida. A young man on their family farm went out to take a dip on a hot day, cold pond he'd always swim in. He was so excited, it was so hot, he just jumped in. Didn't see that alligator on the bank across the pond from him, but his mama did from the kitchen window, and she was watching as he swam out toward the middle of the pond. That crocodile or alligator started to move in. She ran out on the porch and hollered, "Son, turn back. Turn back, there's a gator." He heard her cries, and he made the U-turn and started back toward the shore. She ran back all the way down to the little boat dock that they had. She grabbed the boy's arms about the time the gator grabbed his legs, and a tug of war ensued. True story. Tore him up, and she would not let go. That was her baby. That was her role. A protector, a nurturer. She tugged and hollered and screamed, and a passing farmer happened to see the situation, roared up in his truck with a shotgun, took care of the gator, and the little boy was rushed to the hospital. Weeks and weeks his recovery was, and he made it. Thank the good Lord. When the reporters came around to hear his incredible story of surviving this alligator attack, they wanted to see his scars on his legs. Those weren't the ones that he wanted to show them, though. He pulled up his sleeves and showed them the scars on his arms where his fingernails of his mama had dug into his bicep and into his whole forearm to hold on to that baby and not let go. Get chill bumps saying that. That's what mamas do. I think the family has a role. And no matter how you think or how you believe, the degradation of that is why we're where we're at today. Thankful for technology in one way, because I kind of backed myself in the corner last night with no phone. Didn't finish that story. Went to get us a pizza. Saw a little shop open after 9 o'clock. Said cell phone repair. Nobody was there. Lit up very nicely. All the normal guard. They had the knockoff cologne and perfume and all the accessories, but I pulled up anyway, and the young man sitting there. I said, "Hey, I've got a problem with my phone." He looked at it and he said, "It's the battery." I'm like, "Really? How do you know?" He said, "I just said it's the battery." He popped it off real quick, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, "Well, can you fix it?" He said, "You bet, I can get it done." And I said, "Oh, okay. How much is it?" And kind of hit me in the gut, but had to get done because we got to stay connected. I said, "Well, how long do you think it'll take?" He said, "Not long." I said, "I'm going to run down here and pick up a couple of pizzas I ordered, and I'll be back through here." He said, "You're going to get pizza?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'd like to have one." And he pulled out his money. I said, "No, keep your money." And he ordered his pizza. I said, "What do you want on it?" He said, "Oh, anything's fine. Wait. No beef, no sausage, no pork." I said, "No problem." I said, "How about chicken?" He said, "That's good. Some olives." So I went down and placed an order, waited a little extra. Come back and brought his pizza in, and we checked it to make sure it was kosher for him. He handed me a repaired phone, which we're talking on tonight. And how about that? It hadn't crashed yet. But we had a little conversation there for the first 10 minutes as I'm waiting on the phone. He's from India. I knew it from the jump. He started working at the mall. He's only been here 4 years. Probably in his 30s. And he asked himself, why would I work for someone else when I can do it myself? So he did that. You know what? He's got a coffee maker, a bed, and all that in the back, and we can lament that if we want to, but there's a lot of now hiring signs right now. He didn't get a stimulus check. He got an opportunity to open a business and sell iPhone accessories and help people when nobody else was open. Kind of got tickled. He said, "That's the thing with Americans." He said, "that I've noticed, and I love this country." He said, "Y'all are so blessed. The opportunity that you have, but everybody wants it now." And then he realized what he said, and he looked up. He said, I said, "Nope, it's fine." He said, "Just like you want the phone right now. We want it now." But he was willing to save a little bit and was able to lease a little building next to the SFA campus and stay there till he was tired and ready to go to bed. But he's the true embodiment of our American spirit. That third thing the Bible said was be kind to the strangers. We were all strangers. They were in the wilderness back then. Immigrants. I guess, if you would. But those that come and want to contribute and make a better place for us all, we all came from that lineage. I'm afraid I've forgotten it sometimes. The struggle, the sacrifice. I was reminded of that last night as I wrote it on that three subject spiral notebook with a number 2 pencil in the living room with a busted phone. I didn't want to forget it, so I wrote it down. Our aged, guys, we got to do better. I could have pulled this into about 4 different broadcasts, but I'm not. I'm just going to get it out as that sun sets over the rustiest silos I've seen in a while. But boy, it's a pretty sight when you're looking at it. Right in the shade of an old black walnut tree. There's an old woman that was getting old. She went to live with her family and ate at the family table. They still did that. But goodness, her physical capacities were fading. She'd spill the milk. She'd lose the fork. It dropped to the floor. And finally, her young son and his wife had enough. They couldn't deal with the mess of her spilt milk and just the mess that she made in front of their children. So they made her a little table and put it in the corner, and that's where she ate for weeks. She would sit there, well-fed, but crying through the whole meal. Kids obviously observed this, just as like ours do today. The role that we play in their lives. Almost like little Johnny that went to a church dedication for his little brother, and the pastor said he prayed that they'd be raised in a Christian home. And on the way home from church, little Johnny was crying. I mean, just bawling. His daddy asked him 3 times what was wrong, but he wouldn't say it. Finally, on the 4th time, he said, "Dad, the pastor said that he wanted us to be raised in a Christian home, and I wanted to stay with y'all." The old lady sat there for weeks, crying, but dealing with it. One evening, the dad got home from work and noticed his little daughter in the living room ahead of supper, playing with some Lego blocks and building. He said, "Hey, baby, how was your day?" She said, "Good, Daddy." He said, "What are you building there?" She said, "I'm building a little table that you and Mom will sit down at one day in the corner." Didn't take long. That evening, the old lady sat at the family table again, and the milk was spilled. It was quickly wiped up, and no complaint was done. She never ate alone at that little table again. We're all going that way, y'all. Be well to remember it. If we're lucky, that's where we're headed. All right, that's enough for tonight. Sissy is loving her new little baby, or she thinks it's her baby. Little Snackta. I can't even say it. I can spell it, but I can't say it. But Sissy thinks that's her little baby. So that's kind of a cool thing. She now comes to the door and waits for us to let her in at night. And we got to kind of balance that because she's got to watch that garden. I called her the other evening, and we got a big light that shines in the garden. Sissy's kind of slick. I got to give it to her. She was just in the shadows, making her. I could see some movement out there, just enough from the light, from my angle. But she was making her a little sand bed for the evening, right in the shadow of that light, just out of the reach of it. So if a critter came in, they wouldn't see her, but she'd see them, and that wasn't going to end well if they got in that old garden. Y'all didn't see it, but she was trolling them peas a while ago. Wasn't digging them up this time, just checking them out, making sure everything was all good. All right, let me do a quick roll call. We're going to call it an evening. I have rambled beyond what I normally ramble. Ain't no telling how long we're gone tonight, but sorry. Just had some things to get off my chest. And I didn't tell you everything I wrote down on that pad, but that's all right, too. All right, let me scroll back up. Goodness, if I can see everybody. All right, Lisa Doherty Walking Stick. Howdy from Dallas. God bless you and yours. Thank you, ma'am. There's Miles checking in from Arlington, Texas. Blessings back to you. It's like Kelly's tagging somebody. Good to see you checking in. Aren't you close to Douglas, Texas? Yes, ma'am, Miss Melissa Bradshaw, we are. Nacogdoches is where we call home. This old place has been here since 1918 that I know of, and my family was raised here in the 1940s is when they took this place. So, yes, and we're close enough on Woden Road. Charlotte Taylor Pafford, West Tennessee here, rain all week here and maybe storms. Well, actually, I think we're done for a few days. We got a little fender bender or swirler out in the Gulf. I guess it'll come this way and dump some rain on us next week. I think I'm just going to start thanking the Lord for the rain. I don't think he responds to reverse psychology, but there ain't no sense griping about it, so I'm just going to thank him for it. Why not? We don't know. He's got some kind of plan going on. He had it before I got here in 71. He'll have it after I leave, whenever that is. Hopefully not anytime soon. But might as well just thank him for it. Right? Okay, let's see. There's Lubbock, Texas with Kelly checking in. Alexis, praying you're doing really good. There's my good friend, Miss Donna Wills, out in Huntsville, Texas. Wild man. That's all she's going to say. So don't expect nothing else. That's good enough. Let's see who else is on here. Aaron's in Wills Point, Texas. Good to see you checking in. Charlotte Taylor's asking, do you have bedbud? Well, redbud is probably what she meant. If so, you can make redbud jelly from the blooms. Really? Well, we're past the blooms at this point. So, but I do have several redbuds on the place. My elderberry trees, what DW didn't eat at the bottom, they're about to bloom. Well, DW, I've got a bad problem. This is an inside joke, y'all. But I've been having a bad problem with Randall hogs on this place. We got a little equipment yard going on, but look what they did to this place. No, those aren't skid steer tracks. They're Randall hog tracks. I mean, just tore up the whole front yard. And anyway, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to catch him out here at some point. Look, there he is again. I don't know what did that. Oh, maybe that's what it was. No, that's my buddy. This old place, you can rut it up and scar it up, and it'll come right back. Weeds are weeds, and if that was my tomato garden, we might have a problem, but this old bahia grass, thank God the goats love the bahia grass. They just can't get it together to cut it all down. They just pick and choose and leave them old East Texas rain flags sticking up all over the yard. Anyway, I'm off track. Let me come back. All right. Let's see, there we go. Okay, I saw that one. There's Linda from Texas Hill Country. Good to see you on. Who else is on? There's Mr. Roy. Looks like you had a heavy dew last night. No, we have got rain today, so that's all right. That corn just going crazy. I was able to fertilize it, and a little concerned because it's not but about 1.5 feet high and already tasseling. This rain's got everything confused. Even the Katavi worms don't know when to come out and eat their leaves. But we're waiting on them because the catfish are waiting on them. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, let's see. There's Matt out in Robinson, Texas. Good friend. Climbed a few old big pine trees and oak trees to cut down with that man. Good to see you on, buddy. Melinda's from Oregon, waiting for my delivery. Well, we deliver to Nebraska, Melinda, but we don't deliver to Oregon. Or maybe it's the other way around. I get it confused. Good to see you on. There's Donna. Howdy, good evening to you, ma'am. Let's see here. Who else is on? Bernice is checking in from Katy, Texas. We had to go out and pick a cotton stalk. That was a long walk. We knew we messed up. Ooh, I ain't never been whooped by a cotton stalk. That's a whole nother ball game, I guess. Them red plum limbs were enough. And I think I still probably got scars all the way in my brain. Good scars, right? I'd take another whooping or two if I needed to. I think a lot of y'all miss those red plum switch whoopings from what I see on Facebook, because it really shows. All right, I'm stepping in it again. I'm going to get out of there. There's Jamie Thompson. Thank you. So enjoy listening to your perspective from time past when life was in balance. Blanco, Texas. Is it Blanco or Blanco? I guess if you're speaking Spanish, it's Blanco. If you're speaking Tex-Mex, it's Blanco or redneck. Anyway, either way, hello to you. Good to have you on. Let's see. Charlotte saying, say hi to my friend Loretta Baker Windsor from West Tennessee. Well, howdy, Miss Loretta Baker Windsor from West Tennessee. Good to have you on, if you are. There's Teddy. Good evening to you, sir. Oh, my good friend, Mr. Lewis Hill. Curious who is holding the camera. Do you use your right hand? If so, that must be getting tired. It does. It does. I do hold my... See, there you go. So, I don't know. It's just, I don't even look at it. Well, I can't... I'm so distractible. I done made up another word, Wildflower. She gets on me about these words I make up. Distractible may be in the dictionary. I don't even know. Anyway, no, I don't even look at the screen as I'm doing it, but I guess my arm has figured out where it needs to be. Probably needs to be there. It'd be a better look. Grass, it looks better. But no, I don't. It's just my hand. That's all I'm doing. I don't know how this all started, but we're doing it just the same. There's Miss Viola Goff. It's okay to live a life others do not understand. I agree with that. I do. I totally agree with that. That's a good way to put it. I was struggling for that. Melissa Blacketer. Joel, aren't you close to Douglas? I have family there. Yes, we're very close to Douglas. It's left at the loop in about 2 miles and a left on, is it 225? Anyway, I can get there from here. That's the main thing. There's Robert. Thumbs up. Good to see you. Nancy, good evening. So true, family isn't what it used to be. Man, I have thought about that. Here, I'm going to get into it again. I think family is what we make it. My dad went out to Florida this last weekend. There's a lot of peace out there, too. Panhandle it is. Looks like East Texas did 20 years ago. My aunt, his sister, and her husband live out there. It's where my granddad went in his aged years. And my aunt from, y'all see her check in from time to time. My Aunt Pat from Pennsylvania went down, and it's been a while since they were able to connect as a sibling group. You know, that's how it goes. But they had a little impromptu reunion this last weekend, and I'd heard Dad laugh in a way I hadn't heard him laugh in a long time, just at home and at peace. Family ain't the same anymore, true, but we can make it the same if we try. So, true statement, but I guess we just got to work on it a little harder sometimes, right? All right. Got more rain? Yes, Misty, we did. She's up in Missouri. We are hanging in there for sure. My little tomato experiment garden where I didn't till up the grass or the weeds, and I'm 50-50 on it. One person said I was crazy, the other one said I wasn't. Well, today I ain't crazy because the soil is intact and we had no wash, and them little tomato plants that are about that big are still there. So I ain't gonna call it yet. I ain't gonna say it's right, but it's right today. So that's what matters. That's all we have is today. Stephanie, I always see you live, but I sure do like your story. Oh, don't always see me live. Okay. Got lucky tonight. Well, blessed you're on, Stephanie. Thanks for checking in. There's Miss Misty. She done took a road trip up by my daughter in South Carolina. Been seeing her post, good friend. She been eating up a storm. I've been jealous. I hope, well, I don't know. There were some shrimp dishes that I hope she's not mailing to me by any reason. They might be a little funky by the time they get there. But hope y'all made that trip good. Good to see you checking in. Miss Alexis, thank you, ma'am. Good to see you on. There's Charlotte. Appreciate you. Be the light. Melissa, my grandparents lived at Highway 21, Dewey Buck and Ida Bradshaw. A lot of family in Woden, too. That's good stuff. That is awesome. Mosquito. I didn't put none on my ear. I don't know if I want Sissy to bite that mosquito off my ear or just leave it alone. She got some big old teeth, y'all. I think I'll take care of that and let Sissy do something else. Get a chance, some of the rain, the Sierra Blanca. I'd love to, David. Really would. Teddy, do I know Willie P. Richards from your town? I know him well. I'm not going to say his name, but he and I are good friends. Thought about having him out here in his real persona, but he lost his wife last year, and he publishes a small town newspaper here that we all love to read. He is a very, very good man. Those that know who I'm talking about know who I'm talking about. We'll leave his persona alone, because humor is a very, very good medicine. He does that well. But that is a special friend and a very, very good man. And Nacogdoches is definitely proud of all he's accomplished. Thank you for that, Teddy. There's Miss Charlotte out Trinity Way. Good to see you on. Joyce is in Florian, Louisiana. How are you? Well, I done rambled and now I got a lot of folks to talk to. That's all right. Hey, Teresa. Good to see you checking in. Rebecca's in Wisconsin. My goodness. What is it up there? Is it snowing? I'm ignorant. It ain't snowing in Wisconsin, is it? This weather pattern, we got a swirly out in the Gulf in June, y'all. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pick them peas this year as crazy as this weather is. It'd probably be snowing on the peas in August at this rate. Oh, well, I guess I'll just put on a coat and go pick peas. Hey, at least I won't have to worry about flash freezing them. They'll already be ready to put up. Just put them in bags. Silver lining, right? There's Sheila. Barely got you. Well, you're here. You made it. Patty's saying love watching you. Well, thanks for checking in. All right, I think I got through everybody. Well, if y'all are in and around Nacogdoches, I'll make a shameless plug. We still got a little bit of good grass left. But y'all can come over here and watch Sissy catch the mosquitoes. You gonna catch some more? I have never seen anything like this baby dog. Since that kitten has been in the house, she does not. I'm telling you, I don't care how cold it was, she was not coming on that porch, was not coming in the house. Rainstorm, none of it mattered. As soon as that kitten got in here, look, she's going in the house. And she don't bother. She lays down in there, but she's got to be with what she's determined is her baby. And that's okay. Oh, well. She's in for the night. That's it. What do you do? There ain't nothing going to happen to that little kitty cat. I can promise you that. You'd be a fool to mess with that little girl. Or boy. I think it's a boy. Anyway. Sissy is on guard. All right. I've done enough, rambled enough. Y'all have a good night. Be the light. We'll catch you next time.